there were some, people working with the labyrinth before I was. Certainly Sid Lonergan, Richard Feather Anderson, Alex Champion, Jeff Sayward, many people working with the labyrinth. But what I was lucky to do was that I had a place to put it that people here, lovely, large tourist cathedral that people came to in the middle of San Francisco, and so they could come and make sure that they were going to be able to walk a labyrinth instead of just temporary ones that were put in, and that's what helped offer the experience. And then many people started creating and building labyrinths from then.
Now I want to bring up something that you said in your book that I felt was one of the most profound statements of the book. And I just want to read this. And you said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The shadow has to come to the light. Getting to know our shadow is the most important spiritual work we can do at this time.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
I just was blown away when I read that, because it seems that is a prerequisite for us to move forward in our awakening process, to become more conscious.
That's so true. And actually that's a quote, or building on a quote from Carl Jung, that, we can't imagine beings of light. I mean, that's not enlightenment. Enlightenment is bringing what's unconscious to be conscious. And that's another way of describing waking up. Or becoming awakened. But that is, Lance, I feel, the challenge, many people feel the challenge of our day and age, is to stop projecting outside. I mean, I think people don't understand that this is what happens, but when you are in a meeting and somebody irritates the heck out of you, usually we go ahead with the irritation rather than asking, is there a part of that person inside of me? And and that's projecting something we are unconscious of.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever I'm irritated, that's like a red flag goes off. Okay, what is it in me that's being triggered?
That's right.
It's the first question that I ask. What is it in me? Because, believe me, if you don't go in there and try to see what it is, it will keep coming back and back, only it usually gets more intense and more painful until you just can't deal with it anymore and it hits you on the head with a brick.
That's right. That's right. Until the universe decides to give up on you and throws it at you.
Well, yes, some people have turned pretty far away from the light, it would appear.
That's true, and yet, the more we bring in and do that process of shadow work. See, and you can take that kind of question into the labyrinth. And this is what the Sacred Path Companion is about. It's kind of a guidebook that backs up my first book about how to use the labyrinth. But you can say you're irritated with somebody. You can take that into the labyrinth. You always have to find your natural pace. You always want to let your mind quiet. And you cannot impose this upon yourself if you're not ready to work with it. In other words, you can't go into a labyrinth with an agenda. That's
right.
That doesn't work. We've been taught that, but it doesn't work. But what does work is then gently bringing that person to mind and exploring your irritation. What is it that is so irritating? And then see if there's other people in your life that reminds you of, and then let yourself see when you are doing that same behavior that's so irritating. And that usually unhooks you. That usually brings an aha experience like, I get it.
And then that's a joyful process.
Well, it is. It is. Because
it's a voyage of discovery.
That's right. Exactly. And that's what the spiritual journey's about. I mean, we're all on a path. We're all on a spiritual journey. We're all making the pilgrimage from birth to death, and some people believe certainly rebirth, or the wheel comes around again. However we hold that in our belief system, the actual work is in the present day and in our present moments on Earth, that we really need to look at where our shadow is, where our dark spots are that either hold us back or keep us projecting. See, and this is what the issue is when we are projecting onto other people that there's enemies and that we hate them and they hate us. That is, as we know, really, really dangerous stuff.
It is very dangerous, and it seems that certain people who work on controlling the masses know how to throw gasoline on that fire.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to be, we have to be able to step back and not be attached or identified or taken aback by these experiences, and that's where not judging comes in, and just try to see everything objectively as if we are observing it from outside of the experience.
Right. See, I think the real trigger is fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trigger.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We get our fears mobilized, and then it triggers all the projections that we haven't worked through within ourselves.
That's right. Absolutely right. Well, I could go on talking to you for the rest of the night, and I've got questions galore, so we'll have to have you back. But I want you, before we end the show, to be able to talk about where you're going and what you're doing and what you're working on, and share some of that with the audience before we have to go.
Sure. Well, thanks for the privilege of that. I mentioned about the Embodying Wisdom, or the Spiral Transformation workshop we're doing up at Noetic Sciences, and I've been working with Marion Woodman's Body Soul Rhythm method, and it combines beautifully with the labyrinth. So that's what we're doing in our retreat on March 19th, 20th, and 21st. Also, I'm teaching over in Chartres. Lance, we've had a program over at Chartres Cathedral in France since 1999. And
oh my goodness!
So we teach over there. I'm teaching Living an Authentic Life, and we have seminars in the morning and small group process, and then in the afternoon we do an education about Chartres Cathedral. We have a tour of the crypt in English, which is rarely done. We learn about the cathedral windows from Malcolm Miller, the famous guide over there, and then we have an exquisite private labyrinth walk evening in the cathedral on Thursday evenings. And so it's a wonderful program from Monday to Friday, and then it allows people to travel and experience Paris or wherever other parts of Europe they want to go. But it is life-changing, and there's no other way to describe it than life-changing.
Well, I wish I could join you there, but I'm going to have to be joining you in spirit, I'm afraid. But I would encourage anyone to do that with you. I mean, I can't imagine anyone I would trust more or want to be a spiritual mentor and guide than you. I think you'd be so wonderful to experience a spiritual experience with like that.
It's quite amazing.
I bet. Well, before we go, one more time, would you share your website with us?
Sure.
You have one?
Sure, and it's Veriditas. There's two, actually. I have a personal one, so people can Google my name if they want to find out about spiritual mentoring and all. Veriditas is obviously www.ver, V as in Victor, VERIDITAS.org. And we train facilitators. That's another program we do. We actually do that over in Chartres as well. There's labyrinths in 70 countries now, Lance. So, and we've trained people in 22 of them. So we're training away over in Europe. Yeah.
Well, that is so exciting, Lauren. I just can't thank you enough for the work you do and for igniting the light of spirit in the world and keeping it alive. So. Thank you so much for opening our eyes a little bit, and I'd like to have you back again sometime so we can go a little more into depth about this process.
That'd be fun. That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks,
and
Lynn.
thanks everybody for listening.
All righty.
All right. Good night.
Good night.